Hi, welcome back to the garden. Today is Thursday, March 9th. The topic today in Greenhouse Talk is potatoes in the deep mulch. Before we dive into the potatoes, there's a few things we need to think about. First is the soil, and what makes up the earth. It's rocks. And there's three kinds of dirt. There's sand, silt, and clay. And all that is different sizes of rocks. Sand you see at the beach. Silt is in between clay and sand. And clay is just really fine rocks. I've been asked, will mulch work on clay? If you've been following my story, you know that I started this garden in a stallion corral that was orange clay, and it was packed just as hard as it could be packed. And on the outside in the summer, you still can't drive a pitchfork in it, but inside with the mulch on top, you can dig down with your hands. Works the same on sand. And the same works the same on silt. As long as you don't till it up, you create life in that soil. And the life goes from microscopic all the way up to worms. The point I'm making here is when your soil under the mulch becomes alive and it rains, it's not going to hold the moisture. It's going to stay damp, it's going to stay moist just like you want it to. But if it rains really hard, even in low-lying areas, that water is going to go through all of those nooks and crannies and crevices and holes and tunnels, and it's just going to stay moist. Even after really hard rain, you can come out in a deep mulch garden and walk on it and not get wet or not sink in. So that gets back to potatoes in the deep mulch. So what Ruth Stout did, and I think what you saw me do the other day, you just come out and throw the potatoes down on the ground and then cover them up with hay. I did get asked a question if I was worried about them rotting. Come on out here and take a look. It's March 9th and we've already got 3 that are showing through the mulch. I expect the rest to be coming up pretty quick. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example of the deep mulch that's been rained on for 24 hours solid.
It's moist in here, but it's still, we got dry spots. And it rained all day today. So the mulch does act kind of like thatch.
When Ruth Stout planted her potatoes, she had bare ground. She just dropped them and covered them with hay. Obviously in my deep mulch I have to move the mulch out of the way. Now right here, the first time I planted, you can see this mulch went down. It's September, October. I haven't looked underneath it, so we're going to reveal to see what we have underneath this. To plant potatoes, you just dig back and you see how wet that is, how beautiful and wet that is underneath. You dig it down till you get to dirt. See how soft that is? We've had worms just cruising through this all winter long. And Ruth's method, she just stood there and dropped them. I'm going to be a little more precise than that. I'll put a couple potatoes side by side, mark your rows, cover them up, you're done. You can see I was just moving the mulch out of the way and planting them one at a time. I've sort of refined my technique where I make an actual trench and then throw them down and then cover them up. By doing that, I loosen that mulch up and make sure that enough air gets in there. And if you wanted to root a potato, you can set it in water for quite a long time before it rots. This is coming up our 5th summer, and I'm not worried about them rotting underneath the mulch yet. We've done pretty well. Here's something that I do like. The Farmer's Almanac. There's some really good information in here. And I know farmers of old really relied on this. A lot of them didn't use the deep mulch, so I think I have a few degrees on them as far as keeping the soil warm. Obviously it didn't freeze in the real freezing weather. We were able to plant in December, and the almanac will tell you not to do that. But we're so far ahead on a lot of this stuff, but that's because we took measures to keep everything warm. Kind of like being in a greenhouse. You can do this too. But this does have some really good information. Farmer's Almanac is a really nice source and is a really good read. I recommend the Farmer's Almanac to anybody that's gardening. Well, I hope that answered your question about potatoes. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.